Welcome back. Trans women's place in sport has become one of the world's hottest issues this week after the cyclist Emily Bridges was barred from racing in the national championships this weekend. Bridges, who competed as a man until just a few weeks ago, was set to race as a woman in Saturday's Omnium against the prolific Olympic gold medalist Dame Laura Kenny. But after female riders threatened to boycott the event over her inclusion, the sports governing body, the UCI, saw sense and declared her ineligible, a decision British Cycling worryingly said was disappointing. Stonewall also against the decision. Now, the Bridges controversy is the latest lightning rod in the trans women in sport debate after 6'1" trans swimmer Leah Thomas powered past female Olympian Emma Wayant in the NCAA Women's Championships and women's rights activist and Standing for Women founder Kellie-Jay Keen's poolside protest against Thomas at the event went viral.
Are you saying you think that his body is the same as the other girls in the pool?
Everybody is different.
No. Are you saying he doesn't have male organs?
So do you think that you know
Are you
everything
saying he doesn't have male organs?
I don't think that I think you're twisting words and I think you have no idea. Oh, actually, let me ask you.
Does he have, no, I'm a woman, that is not a woman.
Can I ask you a
That
question?
is not a woman.
Can I ask you a
Do
question?
you have ovaries?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on, then ask me a question. Ask me a question.
Are you a biologist?
Oh my God, don't be ridiculous. I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is.
And I'm delighted to say Kellie-Jay joins me now. So, where do we begin, Kellie-Jay? I guess we should talk about Emily Bridges first. Quite an extraordinary development over the past 24 hours. British Cycling still want Bridges to be able to compete, but it was the UCI that actually stepped in.
Yeah, it's look, it's just ridiculous. It's just nonsensical that we have men and women's sports. Full stop. I don't think we need a sporting body even. I think it shouldn't be a thing. Nobody should do it. Nobody should think they can do it. We don't need to have an intellectual, theoretical conversation about male and female bodies. We know that men don't belong in women's sports. That's, of course, they don't.
No, it just seems like common sense, doesn't it? You can only compete in the against the biological sex in which you were born. To me, that sounds like common sense, but it's quite terrifying when you have an organisation like British Cycling seemingly taking their marching orders from Stonewall.
Yeah, Stonewall really need to be totally unravelled from everything, where they have made catastrophic and dangerous decisions on behalf of all, from children to sports to government to police to NHS, everywhere.
So tell me what happened at the Leah Thomas swim meet, Kellie-Jay Keen, because you have gone viral across America as a result of that conversation. Were you at the event because you were so angry about this Leah Thomas spectacle?
Well, I do a Speaker's Corner event in London every month to encourage women to say the things that we're no longer allowed to say on the modern public square, which is social media. And we decided to go and do one in Washington. And then, so I did one outside the White House. And then we went up to New York and I did a talk and I did a little protest outside the United Nations. And I was fortuitous enough for all of this trip to be timed with the Leah Thomas scandal. And look, the atmosphere in that room and the atmosphere of the people walking in is that they were just so grateful that they were able to say it. You could almost feel people expelling breath when they saw Save Women's Sports and people saying, actually, no, we know this man is a cheat. This is totally unfair and unjust against those girls that have spent probably more time swimming than I've spent sleeping in the last 10 years. Their whole lives have been about training for this race. And it's just a really opportune moment because American sports, college sports like this is filmed. There is always media attention. And so it just seemed like a really good place to make a very strong point that men don't belong in the water with women in races.
And what was the atmosphere like at the pool? Because from the footage that I saw, it actually seemed like the crowd were largely against Leah Thomas and had great sympathy for the women who missed out as a result of Leah Thomas's participation.
Well, they had a really polite protest, which was when Leah Thomas was congratulated, the applause was not so great and not so much. And when the girls who came second, third and fourth, they had huge cheers. But it's just remarkable. I mean, the money, it wasn't just a swim meet. There's 4 sort of TV quality, amazing cameras. There's people that are commentating as if it's an Olympic sport. It really is super big business. And so I was actually in the same hotel as Leah Thomas, and I can tell you, he's enormous. I mean, I'm 5'2". He is enormous. So yeah, the whole event, people were just desperate. I talked to a woman who was part of the original Title IX recipient. So she was there when she first got the guaranteed opportunity as a female to participate in college sports on a level playing field as men. And she was absolutely bereft. But what they saw and what they fought for and what they saw in front of them just being given away, I think was just heartbreaking for her.
Yeah, and I mean, women's sport is at risk. It is at risk. And I'm a big supporter, a big fan of women's sport. I specifically support the all-conquering London Pulse women's netball team. Now, all you need in a women's team sport, Kellie, is for one trans athlete to be part of it, and the whole sport is destroyed. And I worry about the wokery infecting these sporting bodies. Do you think, like I do, that actually there might have to be government action here, that government might have to step in to actually protect women's sport in the UK with laws?
Well, the government can't protect a single-sex space in the UK or a hospital ward or a prison. So I don't know if I really think that it's too hopeful about them protecting sport. But the government needs to put its big girl pants on, really, and start totally protecting women.
Well,
what
Boris
is the point
Johnson
of even
did change
saying...
his language. Because, look, I know what you're saying. Up until this point, Boris Johnson has been very influenced by his wife, Carrie Johnson, who is in cahoots with Stonewall and believes in that ideology. But I don't know if you saw the comments from Boris Johnson in the House the other day. It really felt like he's realised this is an issue that he has to start taking a stand on. Maybe it is hopeful, but it was a significant change of language, I thought, from the Prime Minister.
Well, I think, if I was in government and I wanted to make sure that Labour never got in again, I certainly wouldn't be jumping on the woke bandwagon. I think Labour have really shown themselves to be quite ridiculous on this issue. Keir Starmer has blundered into this so many times. And for a man that understands the impact of, the criminal justice, the fact that all the statistics about male violence and what opportunistic predators will do, and then to just carte blanche wave away women's rights just so he can say something really silly on Andrew Marr, I just find just bizarre. So if I was Boris Johnson, I would absolutely be the party that all these politically homeless women, of which I am one, can finally say, actually, that party is going to protect my rights and the rights of my daughter.
Yeah, well, Sajid Javid has given a new interview seemingly backing your position on this, so perhaps that is where the Tories are going. Can I just ask Kellie finally, because look, this is a human story. Leah Thomas has suffered a lot of abuse, and now we learn that Emily Bridges has had to remove their Instagram page, their Instagram account. Emily's mother has said that her daughter is suffering from abuse and may even have to have police protection at future cycling races. Do you feel any human sympathy towards them?
Yeah, what a big lie these young men have been fed, which is A, that sex change is possible, and B, that a load of people around them, at no point has anyone said, you actually can't do this. This is unfair. But instead, people have said, you know what, you can do what you want. Life's just like that. You decide what you want and we will accommodate you. And it isn't like that. And they will face backlash. And I don't suspect for a moment that anyone has said, look, if you go to this cycling race, it's not a, yay, trans rights. Isn't this wonderful? It will be, there is a man racing with women and it's unjust and unfair, and we will be very cross about it.
Okay, thank you so much. That was Standing for Women founder Kellie-Jay Keen. Now, British Cycling have said they are committed to fair and meaningful competition informed by objective scientific research and driven by a desire to guarantee fairness and safety. The UCI, the world governing body for sports cycling, say their regulations reflect a broad medical, scientific and legal consensus and are the result of discussions and exchanges between medical experts, sport physicians, legal counsel, human rights experts and transgender representatives. Coming up in Uncancelled.